Three university mates from Iceland wanted to make a game that they actually wanted to play. A game that showed their homeland to the world, spent 9 years building everything from scratch, DIY motion capture rigs made from cheese platters, scanning literal glaciers with drones, creating some of the most breathtaking visuals I've ever seen. It's not perfect, but it's proof of what happens when a small studio has proper ambitions. Echoes of the End is a 13-hour single-player action-adventure where you're solving puzzles, climbing ancient ruins, and actually using your brain to figure things out. It's basically the AA God of War meets Tomb Raider, inspired by Nordic legend, set in a ridiculously beautiful Iceland. You play as Rin, a magic-wielding vestige with perhaps the most unlikable personality in the early chapters, with a fairly simple story focused on evil dudes trying to destroy your homeland, and your job is to stop them and save your kidnapped brother. Classic generic fantasy storyline for sure, but you're here for the world and the puzzles because for me, they more than make up for it. Three mates founded Myrkur Games in 2016 with basically nothing. No money, no experience. They spent 9 years working on the game, growing to a 40-person international team. But here's the mental bit, they built everything themselves. Motion capture started with a single camera and a rotating stool. Then a heavily modified cheese platter came in, and eventually it became a proper 16-camera professional setup. They wanted real Icelandic locations in their game, so they taught themselves to capture the actual landscape. Started with phone cameras taking pictures of rocks, ended up flying drones to scan entire glaciers. Built their own studio in downtown Reykjavik with motion capture, voice booth, the whole lot, from nothing. Madness. They'd apparently wait hours on mountaintops for low-hanging clouds to clear just to get a 20-minute window to scan some rocks because they wanted the real Iceland in their game. They literally hiked mountains in shit weather to capture rocks that most AAA studios would just buy from an asset store. And the madness was worth it. It's built in Unreal Engine 5 and is genuinely one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. The landscapes are stunning, the ancient ruins feel properly weathered and real. They captured something special here for sure. But that beauty also leads to disappointment for me. You want to explore every vista, every ancient ruin you can see in the distance, but invisible walls block you at every turn. Abram, your companion, literally gives you an earful if you try going the wrong way. You're boxed into one path. And look, it's their design choice and I get it. They didn't want an open world given the scope they were working with. That's understandable. But the exploration is very limited and pretty unrewarding, to be honest. Chests are scattered about, but they only contain journals or basic health and mana upgrades. It's like being given a Ferrari and only being allowed to drive it in the car park. Feels like a bit of a missed opportunity, really.
I don't know. Come on, we've got a lot more ground to cover.
Wow.
You play as Rin, and I can't lie, initially I hated her. With no context, she's just a miserable git, snarky, aggressive, condescending to everyone, especially Abram, constantly obnoxious until about the midpoint of the game. There is a reason that she's like this. She's a vestige with feared magical powers, basically been isolated and shunned her whole life, but it's still properly jarring. The thing is, her growth does feel natural as you progress. As her bond with Abram strengthens, she becomes more human, and by the end game, she's earned your respect a little bit through actual character development. Just wish she had a little bit more nuance early on. Abram, your companion, is the standout here. Love that guy, proper funny and patient while Rin learns basic human decency, carries the conversations beautifully.
All right. Guardianship of the wards is a sacred duty. By protecting the wards, we protect all the people of Neuseru.
Core, Rin's brother, sounds horribly miscast with flat delivery though. Found him quite grating, to be honest. But the Icelandic accents throughout feel authentic rather than generic American fantasy, and I'm a sucker for some Norse entertainment, so this was a nice touch. For me, the puzzles are genuinely the standout here. They made me think, properly complex, with new mechanics and abilities unlocking as you progress. Gravity manipulation, time dilation, teleportation, constantly something new to experiment with. Doesn't get stale, which is rare. Combat's more basic, it works fine, it feels weighty, and thank God it's not a Souls-like, but it's just your standard sword swinging, dodge rolls, blocks. You synergize your magic with combat, plus Abram's abilities. Skill trees let you customize things. It's not awful, it's just nothing special. Traversal though is quite creative. You fly through portals, you're climbing ancient structures, gravity changes, a teleportation sword, cool mechanics that just keep being introduced throughout. Had proper fun with this, and it had my dusty old brain thinking much more than it's used to. Overall, it's a thinking person's game with some rough edges, especially in combat, but the puzzles and the traversal genuinely made me think and kept me engaged. Performance issues do exist, but I think they've been blown out of proportion. I'm running it on a 3080, and the biggest problems for me were random 1 to 2 second freezes early on, plus the game drops in frame rate after about an hour until you restart it. But it does get better in the final third though. But outside of those stuttering issues and the frame rate concerns, it's been very smooth. No bugs, nothing broken, which is quite surprising for a debut team, and credit to them, they've been on it. They've been asking for community feedback, patches are already out, promising a performance fix today. By the time you're watching this, it will most likely be sorted. It's not ideal, but it's refreshing to see developers actually respond instead of going silent. It costs 30 quid, you get 10 to 15 hours, no microtransactions, an actual ending which is pretty solid. It's priced honestly for what you get. We've seen AAA games charge full price for far less content and far more broken launches with much less ambition. What blows my mind though is the CEO of Myrkur Games doesn't just run the studio, he's the chair of Iceland's entire games industry organisation. He's literally said that they want to do what CD Projekt did for game development in Poland, and look at some of the amazing games we've had come from there recently. That's what they're betting on, no pressure lads. And credit where it's due, Deep Silver Publishing backed this one, the same publisher behind Kingdom Come Deliverance, Metro and the original Dead Island games. They've got form for supporting weird, ambitious AA projects instead of focus testing them into beige mush.
I'm not the crack. The lava is rising faster.
Shut up and run!
On the right, an opening.
I see it!
So do I recommend it? Yeah, absolutely. For 30 quid, the ambition and sheer beauty of it all, it's worth experiencing. It's genuinely incredible what they've accomplished from such humble beginnings. 3 university mates with no money created one of the most stunning game worlds I've ever seen. And it's just another solid example in a year dominated by AA games. Kingdom Come 2, Clair Obscur. This isn't quite the same standard, but it's still proof that creativity and passion exist outside corporate boardrooms. And we should support these smaller studios. For a first game, it's impressive. If they can nail the performance issues, add a bit more depth and build on what they've achieved here, they've got a bright future for sure. As always, thanks so much for watching. If you found the video helpful, make sure to drop a like, a comment and subscribe to the channel for more honest game reviews and industry news that I haven't been paid to say. Thanks again, have a great weekend, I'll see you in the next one.
Abram Finlay. Your father had a lot of ideas about wards and vestiges. Now, I know why.